Hello and welcome to today's session. My name's Cordiner. Today we're going to be talking about a method of marketing that has been responsible quite literally for pretty much every cent I have ever earned, like ever. And do you know what it is? It's simply answering people's questions. Yes, you may have heard of it as content marketing, you may have heard of it as organic marketing, but there are some really simple strategies that you too can start generating thousands and thousands of leads every single month by just simply creating single, tiny, short pieces of content easily, even if you don't like being on camera. Now, some of the tips I'm going to share with you today have been inspired by my recent reading of the book called They Ask, You Answer by Sheridan. Come on in and join us, grab a pen and paper, let's get going. So as I've said, some of the tips that I'm going to share with you today have actually been inspired by my reading of the book They Ask, You Answer by Sheridan. There is a link to that book in the description here. But I really wanted to basically pull out some of the top tips that I've got from this book to share with you today. They're things that I live and breathe and do myself, completely agree with, and really wanted to pass on to you having just read this book myself. Now, of course, I'm not going to share absolutely every tip from this book. We've obviously got to make sure that old mate Marcus actually gets some sales for himself and give you a reason to go and buy that book or grab the download. So don't forget to click on that link in the description area if you do want to check out the full book. But I really want to pull out some of the really important actionable tips from this particular book that I read recently. Now, basically, in today's digital age, successful businesses are the ones who, I believe, obsess over the questions, the concerns and the problems that their buyers actually have. And importantly, actually address them as honestly and thoroughly as possible. A lot of people are scared to do that, to give the information up front. You know, they think it's going to cannibalize their business. But I truly, truly believe and have experienced myself that if we do obsess over those questions that people are asking and we answer them thoroughly up front before people have even decided to buy from us, we end up making more sales. So every single day, we must be aware that billions of buyers are going to search engines and they're asking billions of questions. Right, constantly, this is happening every single second, all around us, all of the time. And basically, if we have the answers that those people need, we can attract thousands and thousands of these buyers to our businesses. But only if it's our content strategy that's putting our answers at the top of those Google search results. It's a really simple and powerful equation, but it does produce massive, massive growth and success, and it certainly has for me. Now, I call this just simply being a good edupreneur, but author Marcus Sheridan calls it They Ask, You Answer. Using the principles of simply answering my own audience's most burning questions, I've personally built a highly successful online business. I mean, my business now has attracted well over 120,000 students at the time of recording this into my online courses from 168 countries. Now, just like you, I started with nothing. I started with nobody. I had no followers on my Facebook. I had no subscribers on my email list. I had no blog articles. I had 0 videos on YouTube. I started from scratch, but I started by answering people's questions, and I've continued to do that ever since. Just answering questions. I mean, literally, that's it. You can do that too. I don't have a special gift or a special power, neither does Marcus Sheridan, who's the author of this book. We've simply just listened to what people are asking, and we've gone ahead and answered it. You can do this. You know, yeah, but that won't work for my business, Sarah. I hear your rolling eyeballs curse, right? Well, look, let me assure you that no matter what type of business you have or what kind of industry you're in, what kind of product or service you sell, answering people's questions in the form of written blogs, videos, or even better, both. Yes, go for both. Right, do it. Can and will dramatically change your bottom line and your industry reputation in the long term. Now, in case you don't believe me, today I'm going to share with you, like I said, a couple of summary points, the key lessons from Mark Sheridan's book, They Ask, You Answer, which proves that this can work for any business, even if you sell swimming pool installations, right? You know, a lot of people say to me, you know, it works for you, Sarah, because you have like an online business, right? I don't care whether you sell lawnmowers or crystals or candles or consulting or you're an agency, right? This can work for you. And if you think it can't, you're making excuses. So just to sort of bring this example home, Using the they ask, you answer principles, Marcus Sheridan actually led his struggling swimming pool company from quite literally the bleak depths of the housing crash in 2008, back, when the global financial crisis came along. And he was facing administration, and he ended up becoming one of the largest pool installers in the whole of the United States. I mean, that's just massive, right? So in this quick session, I'm going to share with you a couple of those tips that Marcus shares in his books so that you can start applying them too. And if you want to discover how this proven strategy can work for your business, as well as get you the step-by-step how-to strategies to implement it all yourself, don't forget to go on into my Edupreneur Academy, where you can actually grab my whole content marketing masterclass. Speak properly, Sarah. Content marketing masterclass, which is included in the membership for just $47. Now, also inside my $47 Academy, there is also my course Sales Accelerator program, which also goes into how to create content, how to find the questions people are asking in your industry, and actually how to put together a content strategy to answer those in a way that's going to generate you leads and make you more sales. So that's sarahcorner.com/academy to access my content marketing masterclass, my marketing course, and well over 40 of my other online courses for building your business. And you also get a monthly group coaching call with me in that as well. So that's all for just $47 in my Edupreneur Academy. The link is in the description. So anyway, let's get stuck into today's book summary. Basically, when Mark Sheridan graduated university in 2001, he joined up with two of his mates and they started a swimming pool company. So for the next 7 years, business was going good, right? Real estate prices were rising to pretty much their historic levels up in the US. And basically anyone could get a loan for a swimming pool, and many, many people did. People were taking out loans all over the place to buy these pools. So like, woohoo! Business is going good for Sheridan and his mates, right? In his swimming pool business. Everything was going awesome. However, dun dun dun, in 2008, along came the global financial crisis, and boom, the wheels fell off, the pool business cracked, and business dried up. Sorry, I know we're trying to be serious, but I just couldn't resist that pun. Dried up, get it? Oh my gosh, I'm laughing at my own jokes. I think we've just had too much lockdown going on here. I've got cabin fever. Anyway, so pushed to the brink of bankruptcy, Sheridan was basically forced to find a way out. He either had to go into administration or he had to solve this problem. But he decided to find a way out, and he did. But he found it in a simple but very powerful content marketing strategy. And this is where he created the they ask, you answer method. He used it basically to completely save his business. He ultimately ended up generating millions of dollars in new sales that he now directly attributes to the methodology that I'm about to share with you. So let's talk about, first of all, this buying shift. Now, back in 2015, I actually wrote an article about the learning revolution, the buying shift, and how learners are the new buyers. So I was really interested to only recently pick up this book and see, someone else has been talking about this as well. So look, before we move on to the principles Sheridan system, we just need to make sure that we cover a couple of important points here. Now, firstly, you probably already know that consumer buying patterns have changed dramatically over the past decade. As Sheridan points out, multiple studies show that over 70% of the buying decision of our prospects is already made before they even reach out and talk to you. 70%. Right, that means that by the time that somebody says, hey, I'm interested in your thing, they've almost already sold it to themselves. So it makes us wonder, why we struggle so much with sales. Because by the time people have actually contacted us, these studies literally show 70% of them have 70% already made the decision. So this is consistent no matter what market you're in, whether you're in, large businesses, small businesses, whether you're B2B, whether you're B2C. But what is it that makes them get to that 70% decision made status? Well, it's content, of course. So more on that soon. But the other thing I want to talk about in this kind of buying shift is that you might be inclined to think that the lessons you're about to learn don't apply to your specific business. Maybe you think, yeah, but this won't apply to your industry or your specific niche. Now, everybody believes that their business is the one exception to the rule, that people in your industry don't buy the way that this system suggests they do. Now, ultimately, obviously, it's up for you to really decide. but from my own experience, I can tell you it does work. However, look, there really is only one way for you to find out for sure whether or not this is going to work for you. And truly, guys, it's just to go and try it for yourself. It really does cost nothing to just give this a try, implement it, do it consistently for a little while. You've got to give something a chance. You can't just do one blog post or one video and, hope that things are going to go viral and everything take off. Success comes from a little bit more dedication and commitment than that. But just try it. You can't lose anything. It costs you nothing to write a blog, other than 20-30 minutes of your time. It costs you nothing to jump on and do a live stream. You know the answers to your audience's questions already. It's not hard for you to simply just press go live, stream that bad boy out across social media, and it will be out there forever to consistently be found by your audience in search engines and to consistently bring you back in business. Now, just as a little side tip, I actually love doing live streams as my way of getting my answers to questions out there because they get you so much reach. I like to multi-stream. That means to stream your live across multiple channels at exactly the same time. The reason I like doing that is obviously because you're getting bigger bang for your buck, right? You're hitting more people, you're hitting more locations. I'm not having to re-upload and reshare natively to all the different platforms. And I actually use a tool called StreamYard to do that. StreamYard. So I have a free trial on that will actually give you a $10 discount. It is an affiliate link, but it costs you no extra. You get a $10 discount. It's sarahcordiner.com/StreamYard. There will be a link to that in the description. And that allows you to connect all of your social channels. You press go live and boom, it actually goes live across all of your channels at the same time. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so let's just look at the they ask, you answer kind of defined. What's the definition of all this? So at the core of the they ask, you answer is basically an obsession with what your customer's thinking, what they're searching for, what they're asking, what they're feeling, what they're fearing. We all know this. We've heard this before many times over, but I don't think many of us get obsessed enough with this stuff. We don't get obsessed enough with those questions that people are typing into Google, with those questions that people have rolling around their heads in the evening when they're laying in bed, with those questions that maybe they don't even realize they're asking, but are rolling around in their subconscious somewhere, or that is the barrier to them moving forward with us. So just as I did when I did my business, when my business faced a severe loss, I actually myself back in early 2014 really faced a massive hit to my business due to an economic downturn in Western Australia. And in the face of losing his own business, our mate Sheridan was pondering how to save his company, just like I was when I went online and started answering people's questions and saved my own business. So Sheridan was facing the same thing, right? There he was in the global financial crisis. His pool business was going amazing, and boom, it all dried up. And he sat down basically at his kitchen table late one night and he was brainstorming all of the questions that he'd received about fiberglass swimming pools over like the previous 9-10 years, and however long it was he'd been running his business. It was about 9 years, I believe. Now, when he'd finished writing down all these questions that he just remembered he'd constantly been asked, he looked at his sheet of paper and he literally had over 100 questions listed on his piece of paper. That's a lot of questions. So just as you might have guessed, he grabbed those questions and he and his business partners basically set off to answer them all in a blog post or a video. And they just smashed out these blogs, they smashed out these videos, and they popped them all up online. And just as I do with my own, most of the articles and the blog posts and the YouTube videos that they put out there, the titles of those posts, the titles of the blogs, the titles of the videos were the actual questions that people were typing into the internet, or the questions that people actually asked him when they were seeing people face to face. And the reason for doing this, quite simply, is SEO, search engine optimization. The closer that your content matches the search terms and the search queries that people are typing into Google, the more likely they are to come up in the search results. And boom, you then get the clicks and get the business. So if you really want success with this method, try to make your answers a bit more than just 1 or 2 sentence answers. Please make sure you give them really deep, real answers, really deep explanations. Really make people feel like they have been thoroughly educated with the answer that you have put together, either in a video or in a blog, or preferably both. So the other thing I recommend, and that Sheridan also recommends, is don't make these answers kind of glorified sales pitches either. The strategy works much more effectively when you answer it with like a teacher's mentality. Answering without bias and focusing on educating your reader or your viewer as generously as you can is by far the better option here. You know, a lot of us want to jump straight into selling and sales. Maybe you're the opposite. Actually, I know some people who are terrified of selling and sales and actually avoid that at all costs. But if you're being educational and you're being helpful, you get to avoid that icky sales feeling, whilst at the same time really increasing your credibility. Now, you can actually check mine out if you like. If you go to sarahcordiner.com/blog or sarahcordiner.com/YouTube, you will actually see how I have been using this method for years, like years and years I've been using this method. You'll see my blog posts going back to sort of before 2015, and my YouTube videos the same. This is how I've got so much search results. This is how I get so much organic traffic. I do look at my Google console, my Google Analytics, and they actually tell me that well over 40% of my business comes from completely organic content. That means that people are going to Google, they're typing in questions, and they're ending up on my blog, or they're ending up on my YouTube channel, because there is content there to be found in the search, right? That is the real definition of organic marketing, is, you know, you basically weren't doing anything to capture those people other than posting something on the internet and that thing coming up naturally in the search results of your perfect prospect. Now, as Sheridan points out, every single industry has hundreds of buyer-based questions. Now, I'd go as far as saying that there are actually thousands. If you really know your audience well, and you really know your industry and your topic well, you actually are likely to have thousands and thousands of questions that you can pull out of your audience. Thousands of questions that are going on in your head, that in their head, that are either directly related to your product, that are directly related to your service, whatever it is that you're selling, or are slightly indirectly related, but are still going to massively magnetize people to your content because they are in some way related to the problem that you solve or the solution that you provide. So with all of this in mind, I personally find it, and I'm going to say this word, a tragedy, like quite literally a tragedy. Tragedy. That's quite a hard word to say. Tragedy. I'm supposed to be a professional speaker. I do find it a tragedy that most websites really don't even address more than a few of these thousands of questions that each industry has. Like, many entrepreneurs and business owners don't even address any of their questions that their audience have. And then they wonder why they have no business. I mean, come on. You need to be addressing these questions, guys. And if you don't have a blog, or you don't have a social media page, or you don't have a YouTube channel where you're answering these, guys, you're going to get wiped out. You're just not going to come up in search results. You can't come up in search results if there's nothing to come up. I mean, it's simple science, right? So if you find yourself thinking here, yeah, but there's no way our buyers have that many questions, Sarah. Quite frankly, I'm going to be mean, sorry, with love. This just basically means, quite frankly, that you've totally lost touch with your customers. Like, you're just not communicating with them enough. You don't know them enough. You don't understand them enough. And you're just not giving your business a chance to grow. You're not even giving yourself an opportunity for success here. It's not hard. It's not complicated to just be helpful and answer questions. It really isn't. I think we overcomplicate things, and I'm not whacking the stick at everyone here. I've been absolutely guilty of doing this myself, of overcomplicating stuff, thinking I need these fancy funnels, these posh graphics, these expensive pieces of software. We don't, right? If you've got a mobile phone and a social media account, just press live and be yourself and answer questions. Just talk, just share what's important to you. Like, that's all I'm doing right now. I've read a book and I went, oh, this is exactly what I agree with. I resonate with this. So I'm just sharing what I agree with, right? I'm sure some of you might be finding this useful. Some of you might be just going, oh my God, what is she rambling on about now? But, there are some people that are going to find this useful. And the exact same is true for what you have to share as well. Your audience are always, always, always going to have questions. Always. And they're either going to find out the answers from you and you get the business, or you don't answer them and you let your competitor answer them instead, and your competitor's going to get the business instead. I mean, which one do you prefer here? I reckon you probably spend a couple of hours a day on social medias. I bet you do. We all do. I'm raising my hand here. Guilty as charged. I am definitely guilty for this. And I think, for the sort of 30 minutes that it's taken me to record this audio and help people, I only had to remove 30 minutes of just randomly scrolling uselessly and unproductively through Facebook, right, to put this out to the world. And this post here is probably going to make me money, and if it doesn't, I've had great fun making it, right? I enjoy this stuff. I just like sharing things that I've learned with other people and kind of getting that satisfaction, that sense of purpose that it might help somebody else as well. So, worst case scenario, you're going to have some fun, you're going to learn something new, you're going to gain some confidence putting yourself out there, you're going to create a piece of content that has the potential to then be found forever and ever and ever. So why not? Why not? So what I recommend you do is just start researching what your audience are already typing into Google. What are they typing into Google right now? And you probably know the answer to that without even having to use any sort of search query software. What are they typing into YouTube? What are they typing into social media, right now? Start searching for that right now. Create yourself a Google sheet or an Excel sheet or a piece of paper, whatever you prefer to work with, and just start writing down those questions that they are typing in. Start surveying your email list subscribers. Start doing surveys to your followers and asking them what their questions are about your topic right now, and then just start answering them. Of course, if you wildly want to grow your business, that's all you've got to do. And it just blew my mind when I discovered kind of by accident just how simple this was. So one of the things that I do is I pop out Google surveys to my audience. I put them in the welcome email of my email list. So when people join my email list, basically, I give them something for free, I welcome them, I tell them all the ways I can help them. But I also say, hey, what's your biggest question about creating an online course right now? And I put a link to a Google survey, and that just grows and grows and grows all the time. I constantly am doing that 24/7 all of the time. If any of you are in my Facebook group, Entrepreneur to Edupreneur Course Creators, you'll also see that in one of the pinned posts, the welcome posts, it actually says, what is your biggest question about creating a course right now? So again, I'm collecting it from socials, 24/7. I'm collecting it in Google surveys through my email list 24/7. I also put Google Sheets inside my courses and say, hey, what questions do you have right now? So again, they're coming through there as well. And basically just put some time in your calendar and answer 2 or 3 of them a week. It takes 10 minutes to answer a question, tops. It is a lot more simple than we think it is. Now, if you're not sure where to start and you don't really know how to find these questions, I've actually got a 30-day challenge in my Edupreneur Academy. It's called the 30 Days, 30 Tips Challenge. So not only does that course show you where and how to find out what questions your audience are asking right now, it also gives you 30 daily prompts to create high demand content that will gain you search results, gain you trust, and gain you customers. So just go to sarahcorner.com/academy. For $47, you can join the academy and you can get that 30-day challenge. Also in there is my Course Sales Accelerator program, and that also has a large range of demo videos on lots of different search query tools that you can use to find out, again, exactly what these questions are that people are typing into the internet right now. So here's your action from this step. Grab yourself pen and paper, do a little pause on this. I want you to write down at least 10 questions that your audience ask about your topic regularly. So that's your first one. And then I want you to get to work answering them in a blog post, a live stream, or get yourself a pre-recorded video together for YouTube. Okay, I really hope you have now written down those top 10 questions and got yourself some blank sheets of paper ready, titles at the top, and got prepared to answer those. Next, we're going to look at the 5 powerful pieces of content for selling. So back to Marcus Sheridan's book. After a few months of doing this with his pool company, Sheridan basically started to look at the web analytics on his website to determine what was working and what kind of content was generating the most traction. So you can actually do this using Google Analytics and Google Search Console. Both of those things are free. If you go into my marketing course in my academy, I do actually show you how to set those up and how to use those. Now, basically what he did is when he was looking at these analytics, he found that there were basically 5 types of content that seemed to generate the most amount of traffic, the most amount of interest, more importantly, the most amount of buying activity. Now, these were number 1, posts about pricing and costs. Number 2, posts about problems. Number 3, posts about versus and comparisons. So this versus that. Number 4 were posts about reviews. And 5 were posts about the best in class. So what's the best X, Y, and Z? So why are these 5 things the ones that moved the needle the most? Why are these 5 the ones that kind of got that most amount of traffic? Why are these the ones that worked? Well, it's basically because those are the issues that, all of us, all consumers basically obsess over when we're considering making any purchase. Just read through them again and think about the things that you've questioned, you've thought about, you've been kind of stumped at or wanted to know before you've bought something. Most businesses, ironically, try to actually hide from these questions, or they only deal with them when they're face-to-face, or they wait until they're on a strategy call with a customer. They kind of see these as like hairy topics that they want to hide from. People don't want to talk about pricing and costs publicly. They don't want to talk about problems that people have. They don't want to talk about other options, versus or comparisons. So people hide from it and they don't post these things, yet these are like the top 5 things that consumers are looking for, Googling and searching like mad people when they go to buy something. So we're really missing out an opportunity if we don't have one of these 5 pieces of content, preferably all of them on our site or on our channels for our consumers to read, to be educated by before they decide to choose us. So not me, not Sheridan, and from this day forward, not you either, my friend. No more hiding from these. I really want you to start thinking about putting these 5 topics on your content strategy. So let's cover all of them in turn. Let's just go into a little bit more detail here. So number 1, the pricing and the costs type posts. What are these about? Now, if you've ever gone to a website, I don't know about you, perhaps you're looking to buy some kind of product or service, or you're buying a course, whatever, and you couldn't find the pricing information. I don't know about you, but if you've tried to do that and you couldn't find it, you've probably felt what Sheridan calls the F word of the internet. Frustration, right? So most companies resist putting pricing information in the website. A couple of reasons, I suppose, right? One is that they think that, well, every situation is different. Every customer situation is different. So I can't possibly give a price because I do custom stuff. Okay, sound familiar? Number 2, the reason why people don't put pricing and cost stuff or content out there is they're scared that their competitors will find out what they charge. Number 3, reason why people don't put pricing and costs content on their site is because they're scared that their customers will see the price and will run away. Now, let's delve into these, shall we? Get ready. We're gonna slap this out of you nicely. I love you, right? But I'm gonna slap this out of you. Shake your head like a rubber chicken. So going back to this number 1, right, reason why people don't put pricing and costs on their site is because they think, well, my things are custom. Every customer situation is different, right? Yes, of course, right? That is true. Your pricing might vary from customer to customer depending on their needs. But no matter what business you're in, it is possible to give your prospects a range of probable prices. Now, at the very, very least, you'll want to give your customers some kind of sense of how the pricing actually works in your industry, right? You need to give them an idea of how things are costed, calculated, quoted, right? Even if you have the most kind of customized services out there, no matter what you do, you should have some kind of formula as to how you cost your projects, how you cost your services, and how you cost your coaching, or whatever it is that you sell, right? I mean, if you don't have some kind of formula, how on earth are you actually currently costing each project anyway? I mean, surely you're not just guessing this for each client. I hope you're not. You should have a formula that you can give your customers so that no matter what size their project is, they can at least get an idea based on some base variables. So, for me, I do extremely customized services. I create online courses for people. I turn their books into courses. I build online schools for people, and I do this on literally every single topic you could possibly imagine. I do this for soul trading, stay-at-home, side hustle business mums, right the way through to like universities and federal governments. So I don't have a one-price-fits-all package either. Okay, some people are building huge, enormous signature courses. Some people are doing tiny little lead magnet courses. So, how do I price that? Well, I literally have sat down and I've gone, the part of creating the curriculum outline, it costs this per number of words, or costs this per number of hours of video content that I read. If you send me a book, it costs this much per this number of words that I'm going to translate. So, that way, it doesn't matter whether they are giving me 1,000 words or 100,000 words. They are going to know that per quantity, it's going to cost this much. And I've worked out that pricing based on how long it takes me. I've included things like administration, my time, team, project management time, and I've been able to work out that base rate so that no matter what the size of the project, I'm always going to be making an X% profit. Right? You've got to get these basic formulas correct in the first place. Then it's going to make it a lot easier for you to actually be able to quote people. So, saying that you have a kind of customized service and that's why you can't put your price on your website, it is not an excuse for hiding your pricing behind some kind of like impenetrable digital fortress. With these complex, it depends on the project type pricing dilemmas, I do have a base formula that I use to calculate quotes, and I break this down explicitly for clients in my quotes so that we don't even have to waste each other's time waiting weeks for a strategy call for me to be able to give them a price. My system can literally just send it straight through to them when they say, here's what I want. And you can actually go and check this out if you want. If you want to go and have a look at how I do it, if you go to sarahcordiner.com/services, you'll see that even though I have really customized services, I can still email you a base price of what my stuff costs so that you get an idea of what it might cost you based on the size of your project. Like without having to wait forever for a call or hiding behind strategy calls, right? I don't hide the pricing in that way. It gets sent to you. You can do this too. You really, really should be giving your prospects either a straight up price or a way to auto-deliver the base rate formulas that they use to calculate larger or more custom style projects. Okay, so like I said, I just want to reinforce that. Really custom style projects, it's simply, just get your customer to tell you what they need in a simple form so that at least then you can give them that transparency without having to get on calls with you. Now, other than my done-for-you course creation services, all of my pricing is clearly stated on every single landing page of every single product and service that I have, as should yours be. None of this is like, I don't know, I really can't stand this, like, get on a call with me to find out my pricing malarkey, right? I absolutely hate that, and lots of other people hate that too. And I believe it's a very fast way to lose ready to buy prospects. So if you want to learn how to create better, clearer, and more profitable packages and offerings, get stuck into my course, Sales Accelerator course inside my Edupreneur Academy. Go on to sarahcordiner.com/marketing and actually break down for you how you can create better, clearer packages that are more profitable for you, and how you can kind of create a pricing strategy even when you have something that's a bit more customized. I hope that helps you. Now, the other thing that we mentioned, reasons why people don't sort of publicly put their pricing out there, is because we're scared that our customers will find out what we charge. This is a great excuse I hear a lot of my clients use. Now listen, look, it's actually really unlikely that your competitors don't know what you charge already, right? There's a lot of sneaky little sausages out there. I am very sure your competitors know what you charge. And honestly, does it really change anything if they do? Does it really matter if your competitors know what you charge? I mean, I'd rather my audience know what I charge and my competitors also do than nobody know what I charge, right? Wouldn't you rather that? So if you're in a battle over price with your competitors, let's just bring this home. then you really, really need to find a way to get out of that battle immediately by simply offering better value. You want to make sure that people want to pay you more because you're offering more. Again, the marketing course inside my Edupreneur Academy will help you reassess your packages and your pricing so that your competition is quite literally annihilated by your far superior offerings. Now, the other thing that stops people from putting their pricing up on their sites or in their content is because they're scared that their customers will run away if they see the price. Now, I see this happen a lot with kind of more high ticket offerings. People go, oh, you've got to be qualified first. You've got to have a strategy call to, quote, see if we're a good fit. Oh my God, I actually really hate that term. Sorry if you use it. I don't mean to insult you, but see if we're a good fit, right? I'm going to decide whether you and your pricing works for me. I'm not a puzzle piece to fit into your business. I just want to know what you're offering me. I want to know how it's going to help me, and I want to know how much it is, and I want to know where I can enter my credit card details to give you my money, okay? If I decide I don't like it, we'll go from there. But this is where your customers are at too. So just going back to this, you're scared your customers will run away if they see the price. Sheridan kind of makes two really good points here. Now, first of all, he says that if your customer can't afford your product, look, there's pretty much little to no chance that you're going to convince them on a secret strategy sales call, are you the right fit call anyway. Secondly, talking about the price is not really about affordability. It's actually about psychology. If you're getting on a call to try and convince people that the price is fair, you've pretty much lost the sale anyway. You really should be convincing people that your product is going to help them solve their problems or get them the desired result thereafter, rather than going, my price is fair, right? You're much more likely to trust a business that is upfront about their pricing. Now, I'd like to add a third point here to Sheridans. If your sales pages, your landing pages, the page where the information about your product or service is on, has been properly written to show your prospect just how valuable your product or service is and how it can change their lives for the better, how it will help them reach their desires, how it's going to take away their pains. If it details all of the benefits that it's going to have for them physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, whatever it is that your thing is set out to do, then showing your price will have them buying on the spot rather than making them run away. So that sales page is what makes them go, take my money, right? Rather than making them turn their back and look for somebody else. If that's done properly, it's going to make them buy. And the marketing course inside my Edupreneur Academy will walk you through creating a high converting sales page. I actually have some templates in there that you can use that detail exactly what content must be in a high converting sales page that's going to get that moolah rolling right into your business, okay? So not having your price on the sales page is actually what will have people running away, not having the price. Right? So make sure you put the price on there. Instead of hiding behind one of those excuses, just be willing to be able to specifically address the main pricing questions that you get in blogs. Address the pricing questions that people have about your services, about your products, about your industry, about doing whatever it is that you do. And definitely make sure that you list them on any sales pages that you have. Okay, so here's an action for you from this little bit here. What I'd love you to do is go and create a list of all of the major products and services that you sell. So list down everything that you sell. Now, for the ones that generate the most revenue for you, I want you to go and produce at least one blog post or video, preferably both, explaining the factors that dictate the costs. Right? What can the prospect expect to see in terms of pricing in the industry in general? And where do your offerings fit in comparison to that general market range? Now, an article that Sheridan posted, he actually created one titled, How Much Does a Fiberglass Swimming Pool Cost? It's actually generated, this is a blog post, it's generated $3 million in additional sales that directly attribute to that article. Seriously, 3 million smackaroonies from a blog post, right? Titled, How Much Does a Fiberglass Pool Cost? This single blog post has single-handedly saved his business. It's saved his home, the homes of his business partners, and the jobs of all of their employees. a blog post, guys. I mean, who wants to earn 3 million bucks from a blog post? I've definitely earned a lot of money from my blog posts as well. So come on, guys. Content marketing is so easy. It's so impactful. Why aren't you doing more of it? Why isn't everyone doing more of it? You know, I've got a single blog post on my site that have quite literally poured millions of visitors into my website over the years. Like millions of visitors. One blog post that took me 30 minutes to write back in 2015 and is still getting me leads and making me money today, right? I know that these posts are going to continue to go on making me money and bringing me in-site visitors for years and years to come. That is literally the best 30 minutes that I ever spent, right? And continue to repeat spending by creating more blog posts as well. So all you got to do is type the answers to a question on a digital page and press publish. That's it. Now, if some of you are new to blogging, you're new to YouTubing, again, jump on into my academy. I do have a blogging masterclass in my Entrepreneur Academy, and I also have a YouTube masterclass in there as well. So go on over to sarahcordiner.com/academy if you do want to grab those tips. All right, going back to our 5 powerful content types, we've done pricing. The next type of content you really want to be creating is problems. Now, do we really want to be creating problems? But we're talking about problems that your audience have, problems that your prospects are trying to solve, trying to overcome, or worried about, are fearful of. So going back to these 5 main types of profitable content. Number 2 is to write or video answers and solutions to your prospects' problems. So this content subject is basically all about turning weaknesses into strengths. We got to remember that fear is much stronger than desire. So when people buy, their instinct is to worry much more about what might go wrong rather than what might go right. Now, they know that they can go to your website to find out all of the great things that will happen if they buy from you. You know, that's what they get from pretty much every website they visit. But what stops them getting their wallets out are their fears, the things that they're worrying about what is your product, what is your service, what is your offer, what fears do they have around those? So for instance, Sheridan in his book, he was telling a story about how somebody might decide between getting a fiberglass pool or a concrete pool, for instance. So his prospects would ask him or type into Google variations of something like, what are the problems with a fiberglass swimming pool? What are the problems with a concrete pool? And so that's what he actually ended up writing a blog post about. He wrote a blog post called The Top 5 Fiberglass Pool Problems and Solutions. How easy is that? So, you know, I create online courses. I could do the top mistakes that course creators make, the top problems that most learning management systems have, the biggest problems that course creators, face when they first get started, for instance. You know, what are the problems that they're going to face? Address them. Now, you know, it might not be of interest to you, but to anyone looking to buy a swimming pool, you know, what's the difference? What are the problems that fiberglass pools have? Sheridan's answer actually ended up coming up in Google first. So he got all the clicks, he got all of the business, right? Everybody in the pool industry thought that they were literally crazy for writing that post. How many of their competitors had that information on their website? 0. How many prospects wanted to know the answer to that question? Every single one of them. Right. Another thing that I've done in around problems with my own business is I started seeing a lot of, you know, when the course creation world got sexy, I've been in it long before it was sexy, right? Back when it was just curriculum design. When all these kind of marketers started jumping on board and going, I'm a course creator too. I've created a course. I can help you create a course. I started seeing a lot of people get scammed in the industry. You know, a lot of people who didn't really know what they were talking about, going out there becoming course creation coaches. So I actually wrote a post called something along the lines of X warnings that you might be getting scammed in the course creation industry. And I wrote down things that people need to look out for when they're hiring a consultant or a coach like me. Now, just to not make it self-grandiosing, I did actually put at the end, this isn't a post to convince you to buy my services. Here are things that, you know, I consider you check out about me too. These are things that you should be doing when you're doing due diligence, when you're trying to hire a coach or a consultant in this industry. You know, they're the problems that people are scared of. They're scared of getting scammed. They're scared of getting a bad result. They're scared of wasting their money. They're scared of being hoaxed or whatever it might be. So think about what are the problems that they're fearful, what are the problems that might go wrong for them in this industry of yours, and create a post or a video about that. Now, as part of this, the next thing is to always address the elephant in the room, right? When considering whether or not you're going to address the elephant in the room, you need to make a choice, right? You can allow them to search for and find the answers to those questions themselves, those fears or the problems that they have, and they may end up on somebody else's site. Or you can address those big old elephantes directly, answer their questions and concerns, even the ones they don't know they had, and let them decide from there. Aside from basically creating a deep level of trust that your competitors are unlikely doing yet, this has two advantages. By addressing these elephants in the room, you kind of get two really big bonuses from this. First, you actually get the opportunity to explain why. You're getting this opportunity to explain why, in spite of the problems, your product and service would be a good fit for them. For instance, one of the drawbacks to a fiberglass pool that Sheridan used, he said one of the drawbacks is, bear in mind he sells fiberglass pools, right? He said one of the drawbacks to a fiberglass pool is that it might not be long enough, it might not be deep or as wide as the customer might like, but it lowers the maintenance and they have a pool that will last a lifetime. And that was more important to some of his prospects. So it was a worthwhile trade-off and helped him win the business. So he said, these are the problems with this product that I sell. However, here are the benefits that this product also has. So he's addressing the questions, the queries, the dilemmas that people think they might be facing, and actually turning it around to making it a positive. He's turning that weakness into a positive. He's turning the weakness into a strength. And at the same time, it's making that prospect feel like they're educated, informed, and far more confident in their decision to buy. And the second payoff and trade-off from doing this is that you actually eliminate people from your sales and marketing funnel that would never actually become customers in the first place. And this frees you up to pay closer attention to those that actually might. And if they're going to find out those problems eventually, which they will, they may as well find out right now, and they may as well find that out from you. So here's an action. The next thing I want you to do is list out the top 10 problems, fears, or concerns that they might have when choosing to buy what you offer, and then address them with your video or your blog post. So write down those top 10 problems, fears, or concerns that they might have, and crack on with that right now. Hopefully you paused. Did you press pause and do that? I hope you did. Now, content subject type number 3 is the versus and comparisons. The third major content subject is something that we as consumers are fascinated with. Comparisons. This versus that. So in my world of course creation, I get asked things like, what's the difference between Thinkific and LearnWorlds? Or which course platform is better? Or what's the difference between this software and that software? Should I use my phone to film or should I use my webcam? And so on. So over the years, Sheridan, and in his book, he was saying that him and his colleagues had heard the same kind of question from their prospects. What's the difference between a fiberglass pool and a concrete pool? So they wrote a blog post called Fiberglass Pools versus Vinyl Liner Pools versus Concrete Pools, an honest comparison, right? It kind of sounds like a mouthful, but they're all the keywords that people are typing in. What's the difference between fiberglass? What's the difference between concrete? A lot of people, I believe, particularly entrepreneurs, experts, any service providers, any product sellers, they're losing sales because they avoid addressing these issues and concerns. Why address problems that some of your prospects might not even consider? That's what they're thinking. Well, two of the reasons that we covered in the previous section: turning weaknesses into strengths and using marketing to eliminate bad leads. The two other reasons for doing these comparisons is for traffic and for trust. Right? So you might as well be writing this stuff because you're going to get more traffic, you're going to get more trust from people when you're being honest about the pros and cons of particular things, even if you're selling those particular things, right? Everything has a con. Not everything is completely and utterly perfect in every single way. If you're honest about that and you share the pros and the cons, the good, the bads, the uglies, this one versus this one, and the dark and the light side of both or all of the things that you're comparing, you are going to get more trust from people. If people are thinking about those questions, then they are searching for the answers online. And wouldn't you rather that they came to you for the answer rather than some third-party site, sometimes misinformed, and stealing those customers from you because they've written it before you did? Now, to top it off, search engines really, really love comparison types of content, and they do actually serve it much higher rankings than self-serving sales messages. So if you're doing a this versus that, you are going to dramatically increase your traffic if you're writing blogs or videos on this versus that type content, or the pros and the cons type content. When your prospect is seeing that you're open and honest, they're going to be more likely to trust you during the rest of the sales process. They're going to be way more likely to buy from you. So here's what to do next, little action item for you. Write down every single question that you've ever received from prospects that ask you to compare two or more things. So this could be really obvious things, like what you sell versus what a competitor sell, your product versus a competitor's product. But it can also be really less obvious things. It can be things that you don't even sell, but are still what your target audience are typing into Google. So be creative and think beyond your own exact products and services that you're selling. It could be softwares that they use. It could be other products that they use. It could be different types of lifestyles, methodologies, different types of concepts, different kinds of mindsets. There's all different things that you can compare a this versus that on in order to get yourself up in the search results with that content and get people coming to you. After you've made that list, then write down your answers, and yes, you've guessed it, start turning them into blog posts, YouTube videos, live streams, ebooks, webinars, and even mini courses. Yes, you can gather up all these questions, all these content that you're creating, and create a mini course with it. You can actually grab my free course creation starter kit at sarahcordiner.com/starter kit, and it will actually take you through the 10 steps of finding the questions your audience are asking, and actually turning those into mini courses that you could even charge for, as well as give away for free as lead magnets. Okay, so content subject 4 and 5, reviews and best in class. I'm going to put these two together because they're sort of similar. So let's start this section by saying that what you're about to hear is probably going to seem a little bit crazy, but just like the other tactics you've learned today so far, they will work if you embrace them. So one of the questions that people always ask is things like, who is the best blur? So for instance, like, who is the best course creator? Who is the best marketer? Who is the best PR strategist? Right, you get the point. So in true They Ask Your Answer form, Sheridan actually wrote a blog post titled, Who are the best pool builders in Richmond, Virginia? Reviews/ratings. Right, how cool is that? So yeah, I'm doing course creation, so I could literally say, who are the best course creation specialists in the world? Or I'm based in Australia, I could change that to, who are the best course creation coaches in Australia? Reviews/ratings, right? What Sheridan did is he actually listed 5 companies that he truly believed were actually really, really good in the pool industry. Yes, his own competitors, right? And for good measure, this is the bit that sounds crazy, he actually didn't include his own company in that list. He did not include his own company in that list. So this is the bit that I told you might seem a bit crazy. Why on earth would he even do that? Why? It's strategy, guys. This is strategy. It's about traffic, right? So the first reason is that if he put himself in the list, or as soon as you put yourself on that list, it's likely you're going to lose credibility, because it then becomes a bit of a puff piece. It becomes this self-glorifying, self-grandiosing, look at me, I'm so great, I'm the best piece, right? That's probably going to jeopardize the trust that you were trying to build all along with this strategy in the first place. So the second reason is kind of less obvious, but even more important. The first thing we need to ask ourselves is, where were the prospects when they're reading that post? If they're reading that post that you wrote, where are they? Oh yes, they're on your website, not your competitor's website, not a third-party website. They are on your website if they're reading that blog post. That counts already because it's now traffic that you're receiving. You've probably got tracking pixels on your website, which means you now have their pixel tracking data, right? So you can now follow them around with retargeting and targeting ads. Ultimately, it also means that because it's your blog post on your website, you are the one that controls the messaging. You can have pop-up boxes and opt-ins. You can have a pop-up strategy call. You can have a pop-up free lead magnet that they're going to opt into. It's your site they've come to. Even though you haven't bigged yourself up in that post, you're the one who has that person, that traffic, that lead, that prospect, that potential buyer on your site. So while you don't necessarily want to include your own company on the list, you can still position yourself as the expert purely because of the fact that you wrote it. Tell them about all of the other great content that's on your website relating to their questions. You know, you've just welcomed them in your front door with this post. Don't be afraid to then go and invite them on a tour of the house, right? So just for a laugh, look, go and Google best pool builders in Richmond, VA, just to see how Sheridan actually expertly crafted that specific post. Like, go and check it out because it's really well done, and you'll see, you know, how you might be able to check that out and utilize it in your own way for your own business. So there we are. In conclusion, here we go. We are at the end. That's all I'm really going to share from They Ask You Answer Tips. You know, there obviously are heaps of other bits of juice in that book, which you can get on Amazon via the link in the description. But what I really hope that you've got from this session today is, you know, those top tips, along with my additions and my viewpoints here, have given you some food for thought. Hopefully, they've given you a bit of motivation and definitely given you some actions to go and get started. So I do recommend you put pen to paper and you actually start implementing some of this. Now, don't forget, if you want to learn how to master and implement my tried and tested system for becoming a content marketing machine, if you want to learn how to write and publish a profitable blog, how to do marketing and much more, please do come along and join my Edupreneur Academy. You can access well over 40 of my online courses that cover all of the tips I've talked about today. You also get a live monthly group coaching call with me. You can grab that now at sarahcordiner.com/academy. Until next time, happy learning, happy teaching, happy business. Don't forget to like, share, or comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for listening. Bye for now.